Ladies, I think we need a standing ovation for this dress right here. This is just beautiful. I think the fabric is just amazing. The colors perfect for this dress, and this is giving rich auntie vibes. And if this is the era that you're in right now, this is the tutorial for you. I love making this and it's amazing. So you can wear it as a dress or you can wear it open as a kaftan, and it's just giving everything that it needs to give right now. So welcome back to my channel and let's get right into this tutorial. Okay, so the fabric is already folded into two over here. So the length is 58, so that's including my hemming allowance. So, and then the width of the fabric is 48 inches. So measure yourself however tall you are, determine your length of the fabric. So the length is 58 for me, and then it's already folded into two, as you can see. Then I'm gonna go ahead and fold it into two again, lengthwise. So the fabric is folded again. So now I have 4 layers going on. So I'm just going to give it a quick iron to iron out all of the wrinkles. Anyways, so after doing that, we're going to start doing the drafting of the pattern. So just showing you what I have. So this is what you should have as well. Folded. So you have 4 layers, and then you have the folded side of the fabric. So the folded side of the fabric is where the neckline is going to be. So for the back neckline, I'm going to be using 3 inches and by 1 inch. So the width of the neckline is going to be 3 inches, and then the depth of the neckline is going to be 1 inch. And then you want to just connect that in a curve, as you can see on the fabric already. So the next thing is the shoulder measurement. So my normal shoulder measurement is 7. Then I'm going to add additional 5 inches. And then from that 5 inches, you want to go ahead and add additional about 10 inches for your sleeve measurement, which is also going to be including your sleeve hemming allowance. So altogether from the neck, I think I have about 22 inches. That additional 5 inches is going to be where that shoulder fold is going to be, to give us that effect at the shoulder that we want. So here I'm just going to come down by 10 inches, which is going to be my sleeve opening. I want it to be really quite wide, so that's why I'm using 10, but you can use 8 or 9 if you want. So the line here is optional, and it's actually not necessary for me since I'm going to be using the entire width of the fabric. But if you are using a fabric that is wider than you need to draw this line so you know exactly where your sleeve ends. So to determine how wide I want my kaftan, I'm using my hip measurement, dividing that by 4, and also adding about 6 extra inches to that measurement, just so it's free. So I've just gone ahead and put that 15 inch on my hip line, so I know where my 15 inch stops. So at the sleeve opening, I'm just coming in by 8 inches. So then I'm just gonna mark that over there, and then from that 8 inches marking, you want to come down by 2 inches and use that as a guide to draw your underarm curve. And then you want to go ahead and connect that to your 15 inch mark and take that measurement all the way to the bottom of the fabric. So once you finish doing that, you just want to go ahead and cut out your pattern piece. Alright, so I've just opened up the fabric, and I've just marked what will be the wrong side of the fabric, as it is very difficult to tell one from the other. So I'm just going to open up the fabric, so where the hole is where the neckline is, and that's where the shoulders are connected. So I'm going to be cutting the front pattern, so it might be a little bit tricky because the shoulders are joined, but that's okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and fold the neckline of the front piece. So I'm going to fold it in half, so that way I can have the front piece in half, so then that way I can mark out the neckline for the front piece. So now that the front piece has been folded into two, so I'm just marking here the 2 inches that I'm going to cut off the center front of the pattern. So here I'm just going to be cutting out a V shape for the front neckline. So I'm just coming from the where the neckline connects to the back and measuring 8 inches downwards and then cutting out a V shape. So make sure you're not cutting beyond where the necklines connect, otherwise the gap may be too much. And then once you finish doing that, you just want to cut away that little V shape that you've drawn out on the fabric. So once you finish doing all that, this is what you're going to end up having. So you're going to have your front pattern and your back pattern all together. So on the right side of the fabric, so I'm just going to mark where the shoulder measurement is and also where we're going to be folding. So as you can see, I've just done that, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that on the other shoulder as well. So now I just need to mark where my pockets will go. So from the shoulder, I'm measuring down 16 inches, so that should be my waist. So I'm just going to place a notch on either side of the fabric so I know where my pocket pieces will go. Alright, so for the shoulder fold, I've just opened up the fabric here. As you can see, we have the marking of the shoulder measurement at 7 inches and also that extra 5 inch. I hope that makes sense. So you want to take that 7-inch mark and then fold it over to the 5-inch mark, and you want to tack that down. That is how you're going to achieve the fold effect on the shoulders. So once you're happy with the positioning of the fold, you want to sew that along that line. You can either do a long stitch or you can just use your needle to just tack everything in places. So now the next thing I'm going to do is sew my pocket pieces into place. I'm going to be using offcuts from what I cut off from the pattern drafting earlier on, and I'm also going to be using that to do the neckline as well. So I lost some of my footage, but what you need to do next is sew the side seams together. You want to also hem your sleeves, and then once you finish doing that, then this is what you should have. So what's next to do is to measure the entire length of the neckline. So mine ended up being around 120, but I cut out fabric that is long enough to cover that and have extra left over. So the width of the fabric that I used, that I'm going to be using, is 4.5 inches, so that when you fold it and then you take away the sewing allowance, you probably have 2 inches in width left. Alright, so this is now being ironed and folded into two. So now I'm just going to attach it to the entire front of the garment and then sew that in place. So next thing is to figure out where the inside tie strings will be. So from the shoulder, you want to measure where your waistline will be, which is mine is 16 inches, and then from the opening of the garment, you want to come in by half of the width of the entire front piece. You want to do that on the other side as well, so just place that measurement, and then you want to mark that measurement on the inside because you're going to sew in the strings on the inside rather than the outside of the fabric. You want to pin the strings in place and take that to the sewing machine. So the length of the string that I'm using is 16 inches. So each of them is 16 inches. So after that, you want to figure out where you want to put your poppers, your pin, your buttons, essentially. So these are going to be invincible. They're going to go on the inside. So you want to just mark where you want them to start from. So you want to make sure that where you're marking is on the inside and rather than on the outside. So I decided to use 6 inches gap for each of my poppers. So just figure out what works for you, where you want yours to start and where you want it to end. So once you finish doing that, you're gonna need to sew that by hand, by the way. So once you finish doing that, you just want to hem your garment, and after hemming your garment, you're pretty much done. The garment is ready to wear, and you just need to go ahead and rock your new outfit. So thank you so much for staying tuned. If you have found this tutorial to be very helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Thank you for staying tuned, and I will see you on my next tutorial.